Thank you, Inga. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely already feel very inspired. Today I'm going to start off with perhaps one of the biggest cliches that we're going to hear this century in these times of Corona. Because yes, it seems that we are still in these times where face masks and regulations and quarantines are a very real thing. So in these times of Corona, we are at the point where content has never been as important. My name is Olivia Døgg Fríðfinsdóttir, and I have a background in anthropology and experience economy. And for the past 2 years, I've been working as a social media assistant at Visit Faroe Islands. So, today I will let you in on how Visit Faroe Islands has created the leading part of our content through collaborations with content creators. I will describe the process of this work and give you a small tour of the digital collaboration system that we have built. I will talk about how we have worked to diversify our content. And to sum up, I will give you some advice that hopefully can help you create valuable content through collaborations of your own. So, here we are, 53,000 people in the middle of the North Atlantic, 18 islands. Those of you who are interested in digital marketing, they might know the Faroe Islands from some of our campaigns. Being a small organization with limited resources is constantly forcing us to be creative and to ensure a global reach through effective PR strategies and our social media channels. I did a quick count, and we have done around 310 collaborations since 2017. We started working with content creators, and yes, let me just clarify that by content creators, I mean influencers, bloggers, photographers. Yeah, you get the picture. So these collaborations have resulted in an extensive image bank, and the materials have been used on our digital platforms and our social media channels. Today, we have just about 500,000 followers on our social media, Instagram and Facebook, which are our biggest channels. And I think we can quite easily say that these numbers, they are a result of the systematic work where collaborations have been at the core. So, how have we done this? Well, I would say that these collaborations, they are made possible because we cooperate locally. We have strong connections with our industry, from the hotels to the car rentals and the tour operators. And without their participation, we couldn't have done half of the work. So, a collaboration system. Before COVID-19, we had around 350 requests to collaborate per year. And we are only about 1.5 person working with the digital area. So, keeping track of all of this, it just requires a lot of work and a lot of planning. So we simply needed to work effectively. So, creating a system like that is quite a messy process. What you see here is our digital marketing manager, Barður Eklund, who couldn't be here today because of Corona, as we all know, keeps on being a thing. But yeah, he has sort of been the brain in developing our work with collaborators from the beginning. and it was also him who came up with the idea for the system. So he contacted a local IT company, and the first version of the system was ready a year ago. But I must just say right away that this is an ongoing process, and that the system by no means is perfect, and we are still working on it. But if we are to collaborate on the scales that we have done, it is important to work systematically. So, to give you an overview, this sort of diagram shows all of the steps in the process that we go through in our work. So it will be from the initial contact to the collaboration evaluation in the end. And I will give you a small tour of the system to see how it works. So when collaborators contact us, we ask them to sign up on our webpage. So here they can send a request with personal information, their social media channels, they send in files with a proposal, and also which months they are able to collaborate. And all of these practical details, they are incredibly important when you come to the actual planning process. Otherwise, you can end up emailing back and forth like 15 times just to get the basics. So, once they fill out, they end up here. So this is an overview of the back-end system that we use. As you can see, here we have the social media channels. Here we have all the dates, and I'll get a little bit more into all this in just a bit. So we will go through all the requests just about 1 to 2 times a month, at least we try to. And once we have decided to start a collaboration, they will get a smiley. So it will turn green, so we know, okay, this is something that we're working on. Yes, this is what the request looks like in the back end. Once we've decided, okay, we're going to move forward with this, we reach out and have a discussion with the content creators about what kind of content, what kind of themes, what kind of experiences we have. We used to do a lot of this by email, but we're coming to see that having a face-to-face talk seems to be working a lot more effectively. So now we try to schedule in online meetings as often as possible. So once this is done, a contract is put out. It's sent out through the system, so it basically has a lot of the stuff. Yeah. To sum up, it has our offer, like usage and copyrights, content amounts, the thing I mentioned. We love to keep things personal, but we also recognize that it's better for our collaborators and for ourselves to have a contract which states the rights and the deliveries of both parties. And then, of course, we move on to the bookings. As you can see, that's also incorporated in the system. Once I put a sort of tick there, it will become green. And that means that, okay, now this has been booked. And here you can see that the contracts have been sent out and that they have been signed. When it comes to the actual visit, we try to give our collaborators some spare time. And yeah, so they will have time to do stuff on their own. And yeah, in the end, also we have some things that we would like them to do. We can also evaluate the collaboration here. So we can give them some stuff. Yeah, we send out an itinerary with all the important information. We try to have everything regarding the hiking and safety and drone regulations. So to sum up, the system, it saves everything in one place, and that's very important. So we have an internal database, so we can build upon our collaborations. So, I'm a little bit short on time, am I? Maybe. Yeah, all right. I'll try to cover just the most important stuff. So, yeah, although the number of collaborations has been decreasing since the crisis, we are still faced with the question about how do we choose the right ones. So our main goal has from the beginning been to produce high quality content. So high numbers of followers and likes have never been at the core of our evaluations. In the beginning of our collaborator journey, the Faroe Islands was still a quite unknown destination. And we collaborated on creating images that would sort of get us on the map. And today, maybe perhaps some of you are familiar with these places. And Inga mentioned James Bond. I don't know if any of you have seen the newest movie, but slightly distorted version, we had one of our iconic places called Kalsoy was featured in the ending scene, quite dramatic. So that sort of shows that we've made ourselves known. You could say that these unique selling points have been there for centuries, but of course social media has accelerated the quest to visit them. So that's why we always try to be very clear with our collaborators that we have a lot of images from these places. And we try to get them to go somewhere else. But this is where it becomes a bit tricky. Because, yes, if we are to change where we are going to send our collaborators, we need to be the hosts. We need to put on that role and say, okay, we don't actually prefer you to go there, but have a look at some of the other stuff that we have. So this is where we started to incorporate our preserve, evolve solution, Preservolution, which is our sustainability strategy. It's, around these 4 cornerstones. You can find it on our webpage if you would like to go deeper into it. So, as a spin-off from the strategy, we have worked with local, with regional DMOs to do an alternative map of the Faroe Islands. We did this very low-key and practical, where we gathered all the DMOs and said, okay, we have some red spots where we have a lot of coverage, and then we talked about, okay, what do you guys want to show? Where should we put our collaborators for the next time? So, yeah, and maybe you could think that if we only put new places in, then in a few years we will have a couple of places where we again end up with the same problems. And that's why we also focused a lot on events and tours and experiences. So that index has sort of helped us form many of our collaborations. For example, before COVID, and obviously this process has been affected by COVID, but yeah, we did collaboration about a Winter Lights festival, which showed no nature at all, which is quite new for us, because we usually have a lot of green mountains in our content. And yes, they also did this Italian guys, they also did a movie about gastronomy. So, of course, this has all been in close collaboration with DMOs and local tour operators. Yes. So, the content we produce and the speed of posting on social media is, of course, ever increasing. And the images that our followers see before they arrive, it frames their so-called tourist gaze. It defines where they will go, and in the end also how they will spend their money. And with 1 billion users, Instagram is a really, really strong platform. And I think you could say the fact that the UNWTO this year has partnered up with Instagram to drive the restart of tourism, it just proves how influential it has become. I really like this quote. With the innovative tools and the unrivaled reach of Instagram, we can bring UNWTO's vision for tourism as a force for good to new audiences all around the world. So I think that seeing Instagram and other social media platforms as a part of the solution rather than the problem, it paves the way for a more sustainable and even regenerative tourism. And all of us who are working within tourism, if we are a tour operator, an airline, a local DMO, and of course the official travel boards, we do play an important role in framing all the content that's out there. But in order to do so, we need to get some basics straight. So, to sum up, if we're going to produce the content through collaborations, we need to be smart. We need to work systematically. We need to secure our content and our user rights. And this is not a one-man show. This is something we all at the destination need to do. We need to cooperate locally on creating this content. We also need to choose the people we cooperate with care and maybe forget about really having a zillion likes if that's the thing that we're going for. It can be good, but perhaps not always. And then we need to communicate our expectations clearly. And I didn't get as much into that, but also building on previous collaborations is also really, really valuable. And last but not least, to anchor the content production locally, I would say that is the most important thing if the content is to create value for the destination. So thank you all for listening. And of course, if you would like to collaborate, you could try and reach out. Maybe we could collaborate in the future.